And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the prestige, and this reminds me of, at this stage, now this is my early days of Masonry, I have to mention when I saw what Masons in the United States, or in the Oregon jurisdiction at least, what they have to memorize in order to prove up to be you see, when the candidates lecture, it was incredible to me, the memory work that Masons were called on here in the I can speak for this jurisdiction, Oregon jurisdiction, grand jurisdiction. I don't know if I could have proved up. But I have to make a point here right now, before I minimize the fact of what is required in Guyana, in the West Indies, and our constitution, our Masonic constitution, was based on the Grand Lodge of Scotland. When I got all of this over, and got all of this, I go back now to arriving in the United States. Now my status is assured. I'm a master mason, and I left Guyana in my lodge. I left Guyana as senior deacon. That was the position I held in Guyana when I left in '59, I think. But remember, I want to return to correct a little idea that I sold about how difficult it is and how to prove up in Oregon, the memorization that you have to do. I got to correct myself. It is not an easy passage, because if you have only a few questions to become a Master Mason. But you don't get to the East in the Scottish Constitution. You don't get installed as a Master unless you install each one of your officers yourself. So you sit in lodge without proving up, but it catches you down the road. And to become a Master, you really have to do the memorizing in bits and pieces along the way. And I wanted to make that point clear. So now I'm in the United States now. It's not a long non-Masonic story if I tell you why I came to United States, why I moved from Oregon to not from Oregon, from New York to Oregon, why I did that. That's a total different kind of concept that I can talk about that for the rest of the day, Jeff. But a little snippet here. I'm in New York. I left Guyana. I did not want to leave. And that was a very unhappy part of my life, to be in Guyana, established, moving up in the hierarchy. But then politically I had to leave. And I didn't know what life would be like, interrupting now, bringing back the same family I took from England to Guyana. After 10, 11 years, I got to move them back from Guyana for security reasons, perceived security. Turned out I probably made a mistake. Moved to the United States, but I was not comfortable in New York. And purely by chance, I moved to Oregon. Purely by chance. Just by chance, I knew somebody. So I'm in Oregon in 1981, and I just particularly liked it. I liked it because it reminded me so much. The weather reminded me so much of England. And I didn't expect that I would feel, now this is, I say, in the early 80s. But I never visited as a Mason. And you know why I did not? I was lonely because I could not go to lodge for those 5-6 years while I was in Oregon. Because I had in my pocket a letter from my secretary of my lodge in Guyana, which was the Scottish Constitution, and the letter I had in my pocket warned me, please do not visit the Prince Hall lodges, because according to our Constitution, the Scottish Constitution, the Grand Lodge of Scotland, we are not in amity with the Grand Lodge, with the Masonic, and you're not to visit, Brother Lambert. You're not supposed to do that. So I between the devil and the deep blue sea, because a lot of black men, I knew they were Masons, Prince Hall Masons, but I was avoiding them because I didn't want to get into problems. I'm a Mason, but I'm nowhere. And another time again, I must talk about that, being in the wilderness, where as a black man, I couldn't fraternize with my fellow black men. All right, so by chance, I am working at the airport and talking Masonry, and I'm introducing here now, I'm about to introduce my entry into legitimacy regarding Oregon Masonry. The start of my legitimate journey, because I just said I could not go to Prince Hall, and here am I with these. I knew enough for the Grand Lodge of Oregon. They don't recognize Prince Hall, and I have not heard of a single black Mason from talking to other people. That was part of the Grand Lodge of Oregon. So my dilemma. And that was quickly fixed, as I said, from the airport. And this brother, I showed him my letter. He examined me in the back room behind United Airlines check-in desk. I can't never forget him trying to invite me to see if I'm really a Mason. And I could find my password. He wanted my third-degree word, and I made sure that he put himself in order to receive the word. And so he was testing me if I was truly a Mason. And I'd like to say I passed the test in the back room behind United Airlines at the Portland Airport. Well, now the word goes around that there is a black man here that should be a Mason, and I was enjoying that period. I became a Master Mason. Not a Master Mason. I became a member of the Grand Jurisdiction of Oregon in 1988. I would never forget that. In 1988, and then I started to feel empowered. But that process was a lot of help from other Masons, there were Masons. And my brother, I want to make a point very clear. Christopher Lambert was not the person, by any means, that caused the Grand Jurisdiction of Oregon to recognize Prince Hall. No. But I just arrived in Oregon at the right time, when there was a nucleus of brethren, like Jack Armstrong, and I have the names. They were already fighting to get Prince Hall recognized. And I probably was a godsend. Because they grabbed me up, the word went around, Jack Armstrong was one of the leaders, and I met some good examples of that. I was a willing tool, and I was glad to be a willing tool. I got a lot of our meetings ended up having a double scotch on the rocks, and so I enjoyed that social part of Masonry. And I was visiting different places. I can't remember all the names, but they took it upon themselves to take me to visit a lot of lodges. Just without telling me this, but I knew unspokenly that what was happening is they were getting me to visit other lodges indirectly to let Masons, white Masons, be comfortable bit by bit with having a black Mason in their midst. And that was a very significant contribution for me.